Yo, what's good? What's good? It's Stormybman, and I am back, welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman Estrada versus Chocolatito 3, broadcast live on Dazn. The fight card just wrapped up, and we are here to give our post-fight thoughts, comments, and take a moment out to enjoy what ended up being another one for the classics in the annals of boxing history. These two men who began their path together 10 years ago delivered in a trilogy that saw action, drama, defense, offense, skill, ring IQ, the whole enchilada. These two little men put it on for us tonight, and it was well worth it. Yes, it was. And shout out to our brother KQKC Boxing Network for once again putting in a tremendous effort in his fight calls. The brother is really getting good at this, and it's just a pleasure to sit back and listen to he call the action, because he does so much better a job than the men who are hired on the networks. He actually puts you there. Reminiscent of the time when we had radio and no TV. And there's a tremendous appreciation for that, because everybody doesn't have access to watch all of these fights in the ways that they're displayed, whether it's on an app, on cable, regular TV, whatever. So
when someone like KQ does what he does and makes it accessible, it's great. So, welcome everybody. We're back for a second post-fight show. We did one just a few hours ago for the earlier card that took place over in the UK with Fury and Chisora. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out that post-fight show, it's up on the channel. You can go back and catch the replay. But this fight card here delivered with little giants. And I've said it so many times. For those who don't like the little fighters, you're missing out. Because a number of times, these are the people that can actually be the glue to hold the sport together. And especially when you have men of upstanding character like the two gentlemen featured in the main event tonight, Juan Francisco Estrada, Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez. Two men who, like Arturo Gatti and Mickey Ward, have become friends through their competitiveness in the sport. Genuine friends. And I think it kind of affected it, the bout in the early going for Chocolatito. And that's okay, because let's make friends and not war, huh? But when it comes to boxing, we want to see our guys go to war. But no, just overall, it's great. Ambassadorship. When guys in boxing don't want to fight their friends. Friends have always fought in the sport of boxing. Friendships have been made from the sport of boxing. And that's something that shouldn't just be an oversight, because it establishes something. I've often spoken of boxing being a brotherhood. And in the instance of men pitting their wares together, one-on-one combat, there's nothing better than, facing off with someone to see who's the stronger, who's the best, huh? And that's what these guys were able to do, and something great was formed out of it. Just listening to them give their interviews before the match and now even after the match, it just states so much about how much better the sport can be, huh? As opposed to listening to someone like who we heard earlier on the earlier broadcast from the UK. That heavyweight who was featured in that bout, and his profanity and ignorance and embarrassing character on display once again. I'd much rather see these men. Yeah. Let me go out here into the chat and see who we got in the building. Got a few people out here returning to join Stormy as we get ready to do our thing. Who we got out there? We got Chi-Town's Finest is out there. There was somebody just above him. I couldn't see that because I can't go back up that far. He's saying blessings and love, Seafood. Same to you. Smash the like button. William Old School is back with us. Yahweh is back. And Shower is back. My usual suspects are all back. It's great to see you guys. And salute to the brother KQKC Boxing Network in the super chat. He's saying thank you for all your support and keep doing your thing, my good Chicago brother. Hashtag LDBC. Yes, sir. As you say, KQ, on the weekends, we've got this sewn up, don't we? We do our thing, man. And it's genuine, huh? It's all from a creative place. We have different personalities, but at the same time, we reach a wide audience due to the fact that we have that type of diversity. And I love that, man. I love it. Yeah. So thank you again for the super chat. 512 Boxing, a.k.a. Big Texas, in the building saying, what's poppin', family? What's good with you? He said, salute Stormy B, man. Winston Lee is back with the peace and the toast. We'll take that. Okay, William, you were at the top. Yeah. Once it scrolls down with so many people coming in with comments, it'll only let me go up so high. And I think your first comment, I couldn't get to it. So thanks again. Everybody else is saluting each other. Universal Truth in the building. Yeah. Okay, William, you said peace, brother. And y'all smash the like button when entering the building. Peace. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But what a great day, man. It ended up, it wasn't too much. Dazn did us right with their Before the Bell show that allowed you to see some of the younger fighters on the undercard before the main broadcast, and they kept 3 matches on before the main event. And that was okay. They didn't extend it too late, and I won't keep you guys too late. We'll talk about this, wrap it up very well, and you guys can go on to your evening. But I just wanted to say that I knew that this fight, even though it started out a little slow, that it would warm up. And Juan Francisco started out fast. He got out front. And it was smart because being the younger guy, the more rounds you get in the bank early, the more pressed the older fighter in Chocolatito would be in the later portion of the fight. But Juan Francisco was never a threat to stop Chocolatito. Now, Chocolatito is always a threat to stop his opponent, but he's aging now. And you can kind of see where being on that other side of your prime, things are just not as they once were. But hey, how about the ring generalship, offense, defense, and overall ability by these two men? It was wonderful to watch. I mean, a lot of the punches that judges may have scored as landing were not landing. Both men were blocking, parrying, slipping, rolling shots off the shoulder and arms and elbows. It was a tremendous display of experienced fighters getting down to business and putting on their skill sets. That's the type of boxing I love to watch, man. And it was fast paced. The rounds went by fast. This fight seemed to go faster than the Fury Chisora fight, even though that fight was stopped in the 10th round and these men went 12. It seemed like a shorter fight because these guys were getting off, they were moving, they were active, they weren't plotting, and they just weren't eyesores to look at like the other guys. Salute to Flawless Mentality out there. He's saying salute to the God and the Sensei, Stormy B, man, my brother of excellence from another mother, fam, and the gods and beautiful goddesses of the mighty LDBC post-fight family. Salute to you. Yeah, we have to say that these men put so much on display with what they were doing, and it was so enjoyable, man. So enjoyable. Even the combinations that Juan Francisco was throwing early on when he jumped out to the lead, his hand speed is what it is. But he put the combinations together very well, touching Roman and getting off to the side trying to move. And Roman was cutting the ring off, something that is a lost art in boxing today. And he could have done a little bit better job of cutting the ring off, because I believe that Juan Francisco is not as good moving to his right as he is to the left. He's very comfortable moving to his left, which is a natural order of things in boxing. So if they do decide to face off for a fourth time, I would like to see Roman force him to his right, to Juan Francisco's right, and to Chocolatito's left. But Chocolatito has this straight right hand that he can throw a variety of ways. It was very much on display in the second half of the fight. It's a quick, short right hand that he can throw when he's getting close from mid-range going into close range. And then he has this straight right that he throws to the body that is like it'll arrive just under your elbow in the floating rib area. A tremendous shot. A lot of people don't know how effective that punch can be. And that was one of the things that kept Juan Francisco on the move, man, because he felt that a few times and he was like, hell no, I ain't gonna stand here. And he was on his toes. But you know what's interesting as well? Juan Francisco, with his performance tonight, showed that Latin fighters can move and box and punch and throw punches in combinations. And he broke the stereotype of when people look at some of the Latin fighters and think that they are incapable of fighting with rhythmic and perpetual motion and being fleet of foot and agile, having athleticism. You see, when you're taught the sweet science from the ground up, this can be a part of what you do in there. And it's just when guys are only taught to fight one way and they face a ton of opposition that doesn't give them the chance to be more flexible and versatile. So there you have it. But when you talk about the X's and O's, this is what is arrived at when you become a complete fighter. And mark this, people, both of these men are complete fighters. Both have suffered losses and still come back and become champions again. You have to take your hat off for that, because a loss on your record doesn't mean the end of everything. I say that often. And watching these men perform, you could not tell if they were undefeated or had suffered losses before. Salute to these gentlemen for performing the way that they did. A high volume punch output as well. I mean, from rounds 5 on through to end, the fists were flying big time. And had Chocolatito been able to muster up just a little bit more energy for that 12th round, he could have made this a little bit closer than it actually ended up being on the scorecards. But I have no complaints. I do feel that Estrada won the fight. Being the younger, fresher guy, less fights under his belt. It's going to be interesting to see what he does going forward. And again, as he said, he would love to face the opposition that's out there. If Bam Rodriguez decides to come back up to the division, you know, maybe they could get it on. That's not a cakewalk for Bam. I'm telling you, it is not. Or even his brother. So I'm very happy with what we got on this end for the wrap up I had a feeling the fight would be very good and entertaining. I did a video on it. It's up on the channel if you guys care to check out the video. I thought it was a nice piece in dedication to these two men. We have to celebrate the fighters when they perform in and out of the ring with respectability, and they represent the sport properly. It's too much given to some of these others who garner so much attention, but also a great deal of negativity as well. I haven't heard about these two men since Chocolatito's last fight. And they were talking about he going to fight Estrada next. And I think his last fight, he fought Martinez, who fought on the undercard. So it's great. They deserve their day in the sun, just like some others who get too much sunlight. You know what I mean? Silvestrio is out there. He says, salute. William says, exactly why I picked Estrada. Yeah. Shower says 100. You know, when I see boxing matches like this, I always have a feeling of elation coming up out of that, because it's what I like from the sport. It's what I tune in for. None of that drama, none of that. And see, that's the other thing. When you pit the best against the best, oftentimes you come away like this. But when you're fighting, when you're viewing these fights with guys in these one-sided affairs, on paper, the guy should have nothing to do with him unless there's an upset. That's the thing that can drive you crazy in this sport. But boy, did they deliver tonight. What round was that? The 12th round? The last round? Man, was that exciting or what? And they both were given as best as they could, you know? And I think Chocolatito just kind of, ran out of gas a little bit there at the end. They were talking about his training camp and how hard he went during his training. And maybe he might have overtrained just a little bit, because at the age he is now, he doesn't have to do all that heavy sparring and everything. He just has to get himself sharp. But again, when you are, fighting infrequently, it's a double-edged sword. That's why fighters need to fight more often. You could have soft touches in between your tough fights, but you don't need like 6 to 8 to 10 months laid off as a professional fighter. A professional fighter can fight every 90 days when you're at the top of the game. You can have shorter camps because you don't get yourself too far out of shape, and you could keep your timing, because timing is so important. Timing and being in shape are the two driving factors for professional fighters at the top of their games. If you let yourself go and get out of shape, meaning putting on too much weight, you wind up having fat camps. If you go too long being out of the ring, you could lose the timing. I remember when Tank Davis knocked out Leo Santa Cruz. I was like, they need to put him in the ring again within a couple of months. It was 8 months later or something like that when Tank fought again after that. They blew that up. First of all, you get a fight that goes inside the distance. And so you didn't get cut. You didn't get any injuries or anything. So why not optimize already being in shape by going back into the ring in a few weeks? But see, these guys of today, they think they're supposed to go on holiday and celebrate for 8-9 months after winning a fight against a guy that they were already picked to defeat anyway. Psh. Let me get off the soapbox for a moment. Talib Cunningham in the building saying, salute OG, salute to you. Yeah. But going back into the undercard, I got my score sheets right here in front of me. The fight that was between Julio Cesar Martinez, who was the last guy that fought Chocolatito before tonight, and Carmona from Spain. You know, Carmona started off this fight very well. He was doing very well boxing and moving, and then suddenly his desire to fight left him, even with his cornermen pleading with him. We don't know if he got hurt or what, but he said to his cornerman when he was asked, did you hurt your hand or something? He said no, but he stopped punching. He stopped jabbing. He stopped throwing combinations. All he was doing was moving around the ring. He mimicked a gazelle in there. Fleet of foot and everything, but no more punches. I don't know what happened to the guy, but it was a horrible performance, and it ended up being a majority decision win for Martinez. And the interesting factor was, had he just boxed a couple of more rounds, he would have won the belt. This was a WBC belt on the line, people. Flyweight. Carmona shouldn't be brought back to be on television. He really shouldn't. He blew that opportunity like a person blowing a check at the dope house. It was a horrible performance by that young man. And Julio Cesar Martinez, he's a very limited fighter, but he's a tough as nail competitor. He will get in there, and if you stand and go with him, he'll go with you until you or he is out of there. But he's very limited on cutting off the ring and with boxing ability, which is why he didn't fare very well against Chocolatito when they fought. But yeah, Thrill Hill, what's good with you? Good to see you out there. So that was that. And Martinez will be back. He's a guy that finds himself on these DAZN broadcasts. Ed Hearn likes to use him. So we'll see him again. Carmona, we don't care. He can go back to Spain and let Sandor Martin represent, because he's not it. He's not it. Whatever was wrong with him tonight, whether those people in the booth got to him or what, I don't know. Pardon me, my nose is itching. I don't know what, I got something in my nose or something. I don't know. Pardon me. Then the fight prior to that saw the return of Diego Pacheco, who is fighting at 168. I think they said he's 21 years old. The young man is 6'4", very tall and rangy. Hasn't grown into man strength yet. Taking on Adrian Luna. It took him a round and a half to deal with the veteran Luna, who had about 25 to 30 fights under his belt. Pacheco hit this guy with a right hand, people, that when he landed the right hand, it knocked Luna sideways into the canvas. He looked like he had been hit in the head with a bat. My goodness. This kid Pacheco, he is going places. I'm not saying that he's going to be the world champ or anything, but his physicality presents an image that you like to see in the sport of boxing. It's just a matter of, will he get the proper matches, and will people accept the challenge? Yeah. But I've seen him fight a few times, and he's getting better. You know, he's getting better, and we'll see what happens. William says, you're right, Stormy. Boxing is almost doing the soap opera stuff like we accuse wrestling of doing. We need boxing to go back to the old ways of doing things. All you got to do is focus on these fighters that I talk about. You see how many people talk about and make videos on Bud Crawford and Earl Spence, and they're not even fighting each other, and talking about Tank Davis, who don't want to fight anybody, and Ryan Garcia, who's not a real professional fighter, and Tyson Fury, who's a drug addict and the most disrespectful, wretched being in boxing, and many others. Why? If you come to my channel, you will see I have started talking more about the women fighters. I've started talking more about, up and coming fighters, the little guys, anything but warming over yesterday's rice, huh? Because it's important to understand that it's a sport. And I say this often. How many times have you guys heard me say, love the sport and not the individuals? Because the individuals come and go. Huh? Your favorite guy today get knocked out tomorrow and he's done. Huh? Because he don't want to get in there against quality opposition. Did you guys see Danny Dubois earlier tonight? Huh? As soon as he gets off his knees, he may realize he's not in the NFL. He's in boxing. And your job is to stay on your feet in boxing. Huh? I think that Danny didn't get the memo. Yeah. And he'll be on his knees again the next time somebody challenges him. Because Kevin Lorena didn't get that memo. He let one go upside Danny's head, and next thing you know, Danny was on the ground doing the shake, the shimmer, and the shimmy, huh? On his knees. It's ridiculous. It seems more like they like to build guys up today based on their looks or something, don't they? Oh, he's a specimen. Oh, he's got fast hands. Oh, he's got fast feet. Oh, he's got fast mouth. Huh? All things of inconsequence when it comes to boxing. But that's what they do. This is what they do, man. I get so sick and tired of this foolishness, man. Thrill Hill says, what's good with you, Thrill Hill? He says, what do you think about him and Morrell? Well, I don't think that Pacheco is as developed as Morrell yet. Even though the number of fights is different, I think the experience of Morrell, being a Cuban fighter with that Cuban backdrop and everything, he's got more experience than Pacheco at this time. But my goodness, a year or two from now, it may look kind of sweet, especially if they're giving Pacheco the right type of fights to develop. Because remember, I believe when you have young men who are prospects turning contender, the whole process is about cultivating and developing. You can't just be putting guys in there so he could get another knockout, padding a record. You need to be able to learn styles, learn who gets away from you, learn who's going to come after you, learn who ain't going to go nowhere, learn who's going to be foul, learn who's going to be defensive and go into a shell and you ain't going to be able to land your best stuff. All of those type of things are to be learned through the process of your contending, going up the ladder. Now, Morrell looked damn good in his last fight, but there's still a little bit of things he needs to work on. Yeah. Jason says, Danny nicknamed the knee, huh? Yeah. This dude on his knees all the time. I think he was on his knees in the locker room after he left the arena. It's like, what is wrong with that guy, huh? Ridiculous. William says, just like AJ, he was pushed way too early and never developed. AJ never learned anything new since the amateurs, and those muscles were holding him back from cardio. Listen, they sold AJ like if he were a movie boxer or something. Huh? He looked the part. They even got a few fighters to fight him who would fall down when he hit them. But they weren't prepared for the guy who was going to hit back, were they? And that was that. And he never got over that. And he probably never will. You know why? Because there have been guys hitting him back in the gym. Haven't we for years heard stories about AJ getting touched up in the gym? But the gym is supposed to be where you learn. So what the hell was he learning? How to get your ass whooped 1-on-1? I'm telling you. There are things you can do to get better. And if you have a great coach, they're going to help you through that process. And if you don't, you won't. It's as simple as that. Now, earlier on that card, there was another flyweight match, Velasquez and Rosales. Another barn burner of a fight that heated up, particularly in the 8th round. It was scheduled for 10, but these two fighters started going for it, man. Competitiveness means a lot. And sometimes a fighter will decide, I'm going to win. It was a great fight. Rosales ended up getting the decision. But Velasquez, boy, did I like him. He looked like a young, small Mikey Garcia. Combinations, fast counters. He's a little guy, but he packs a bit of a punch. And he looks like someone that may get better. But I liked the action on Dazon's card this evening. I really did. I thought that they delivered tonight. And that's not always easy to say and give support to. It's not. Thrill Hill says, that was a good fight. Expensive won that fight. Well, I feel like once Rosales had realized that he can control distance and didn't have to lay on the inside with him all the time, and he switched it up, that made the difference in the fight. Remember me saying adjustments. When a fighter adjusts to the adjustment, he usually wins. And the adjustment was made by Rosales. He adjusted to the mid-range and outside. At first, he was just trying to pop his gloves together and go for it with Martinez, who was touching him up. But when he started to control that mid-range with his jab, and there was a point in that fight where he was kind of rocking and sticking that jab and rocking, I was like, look at this kid. Oh, he's doing something different. I love that because he adapted to the circumstances. He realized he didn't have to war with the guy all the time, and he could war with him on his own terms. That made all the difference in the world. And that's why he won the fight. You see? Boxing 101. This is the sweet science. It's not brawling, huh? Yeah. Shaw was like, indeed. Thrill Hill says experience and uppercuts. Yeah. Uppercuts were the punch of the night, weren't they? You look at all these flyweights that fought tonight, there was some uppercuts going on in there. Chocolatito and Estrada were exchanging uppercuts like, what do you call them? Poems. Hey, read this poem. Ooh, read that poem. Ooh. Yeah. Good stuff, man. I tell you, when boxing gets it right, it's the best sport, hands down. Yeah. It's the best, hands down. And it doesn't always have to be knockouts. It only needs to be competitive with fighters who have spirit and nature that they want to best the other guy with whatever they bring to the ring. See, that guy Carmona, he was doing well, and then all of a sudden he decided, you know what? I'm afraid to win, so I guess I'll just shut it down right now. Well, go sit your butt down and sit down in Spain and don't come back to these cards. Foolishness. These guys out of here, man. We need more of what we saw in that main event. More prospects turning contender like Pacheco. Huh? That's what we need. That is what we need. I enjoyed it tonight, though. Boxing really gave us some entertainment this evening. They did. Great entertainment. And you guys should be happy too, those of you who were fortunate enough to watch. Because I'm going to tell you something. It's not always like that. It's not always like that. I think next weekend we got Teofimo Lopez coming up. And he's got his work cut out for him because Sandor Martin from Spain, who retired Mikey Garcia, may be on the cusp. I'll tell you, I got a video coming out on Monday talking about these guys. We'll talk about it because Tio running around talking all this stuff, but is he really focused on his task at hand? We're going to find out. And Sandor Martin is not going to be intimidated in the least. He beat Mikey. Mikey is a multiple division fighter and champion, former champion. What has Tio done but run his mouth? It's a different type of situation. Yeah. But I want to see it. And hopefully you guys want to see it too. But yeah, man. That's right, Young Hollywood. Salute to you. He's not focused. He's not focused. And he's going to pay. All that stuff he's been talking, man, it's going to come back and bite like a shark in the ocean. But I'm going to get ready to get on out of here, guys. We got the call in the morning, 10:30 Central a.m. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate the super chats from KQKC. Again, wonderful job doing what you're doing. I support that 1,000%. And hopefully we can have a great show in the morning. It says that we had few people come out here this evening. 200 views, which is nice. Well, William, it's not that they get it right every now and then. Remember, it's the endorsements of what is on. If you're endorsing the bull crap, that's what they're going to give you. That's what they... Listen, Bud Crawford is fighting. I'm not watching. That's a choice. I don't care if it turns into the fight of the year. He had a chance to draw my interest in a potential fight of the year by signing and fighting his contemporary and colleague in the welterweight division, Errol Spence. All that foolish child speak and all of that stuff and making interviews and stuff like that, man, please go sit your ass down somewhere. I'm not interested in that. See, some of you begged for him to open his mouth when he was very quiet and wasn't talking. I never said that. I said, just let the guy be who he's quiet. And wait till he get in the ring. Let him fight. But y'all was like, no, he need to sell himself. He needs to market himself. He needs to do this and do that. Now y'all talking about him like a dog. I don't talk about him. I put him down for different reasons. And they have to do with competing in the sport of boxing. The best fighting the best. And stop ripping off the people. And stop disrespecting the people. You seem to love other folks more than you love yourself or your own. You'll go hop, skip, and jump and be on platforms for those people, but you won't mess with your own. AB was on with Blue Blood and is going to fight after Crawford's event. Why Crawford ain't on with Blue Blood? And this is not about advertising Blue Blood. This is about advertising for the fight, promoting what he's a part of. And since Blue is a part of that and helped make it happen and everything like that, where is that? You see? But he went on a platform for mixed martial arts. To hell with that dude. To hell with him. And so therefore, if you still tune in and support and all that foolishness, don't cry when boxing is in the sewer. But see, like tonight when I partook in Estrada and Chocolatito 3, I was very satisfied. I would love to get one of the guys, if not both of them, on the show and interview them and talk to them and everything, because they represent something very positive in the sport. And they deserve that. But some of these other chumps, no way. But I'm going to get on out of here. You guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. Peace to you all. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. And we gone.
to this day.